There's a lot of mystery surrounding this upcoming NewJeans release. Why is this Korean release being championed by an unreleased track for a shampoo commercial in Japan? There's no way this release strategy is done without any rhyme or reason. There's too many immediately apparent risks to it in terms of performance. It's pretty odd that Bubblegum won't be streamable until almost a month after the music video has been released, but it's not really that odd when you think about it. I mean, NewJeans certainly aren't new to these kinds of scarcity tactics. This same exact release strategy is what made their debut so remarkable. The music video for Attention was dropped on July 22nd in Korea, and yet the EP wasn't released on streaming services until a week later in August. The same has happened with Bubblegum, except now it's dropping a month ahead of the song being officially released compared to just 1 week with their debut. It's a pretty big power move, declaring that the music is worth the wait, and so we are going to have to wait. The explanation behind this decision may just be that Bubblegum was used and seemingly made specifically for an Essential Barrier shampoo commercial in Japan, but that commercial was aired 2 weeks before the music video for Bubblegum dropped, so I'm not too sure about this. There is a Japanese version of Bubblegum that will supposedly be released with the EP later this month. The Japanese version was previewed during the commercial, but the music video we got later in April features the Korean version. I imagine it would have been pretty easy to release a separate Bubblegum digital single at the same time as the music video, similar to how Super Shy and NewJeans The Song were released ahead of the Get Up EP last year. I don't know. It feels like something's going on here. Maybe there's just some kind of distribution problem in regards to the Japanese version that explains the song's early preview without being released, but seeing as how I really enjoy looking into things too much, that's what I want to talk with you about today. I want to look into this too much. My first idea about this is that maybe it is just some kind of power move. While it may be frustrating to think about when faced with the reality that we have to wait for new music to be streamable, especially considering NewJeans has not had a standard release in almost a year now, it is a door throwing objects into the release cadence machine that adds quite a unique dimension to this group. There's a lot of mystery surrounding this upcoming NewJeans release. Why is this Korean release being championed by an unreleased track for a shampoo commercial in Japan? A lot of things are up in the air, but given NewJeans' history of being very deliberate with most things they do, even the messiest of rollout periods feels somehow intentional. It's kind of a superpower that Adore has built throughout NewJeans' discography so far. A lot of work and thought is put into everything they released up until this point, so there is some kind of insurance their music has that makes everything feel intentional even if it isn't. With this release, they're losing out on a month of potential song streams. This strategy may impact the song's performance on music charts, but again, I think all of that provides a statement in itself, whether it be intentional or not. Adore says they don't need or they don't care about that month of song streams. If the song doesn't chart that well, then that's what it is. Regardless of the feeling of fans or the impact this strategy will have on performance, the project will be released exactly as it's intended to be. This by itself showcases a great deal of integrity, a willingness to take sacrifices in terms of performance, which I think adds a unique edge to this group. Again, while it's very frustrating for fans in the moment, I think this strategy is incredibly smart for a couple of reasons. HYBE has been under fire recently as a result of a handful of controversies, the primary problem throughout all of them being HYBE's obsession with industry dominance and profit. The Bubblegum and House Sweet release strategy runs counter to all of this. It shows Adore is a company who is willing to take artistic risks, to play with release cadences and promotional periods as it fits with NewJeans' conceptual vision. From my perspective, I think that's what this is at its core. It's a little too soon and too on the nose to suspect that this has anything to do with HYBE's recent controversies, but rather, I think Adore is seeking to stoke the flames of NewJeans' whimsical concept with this release cadence. The song not being streamable for a whole month invokes older conventions of the music industry. It takes us back to a time where songs couldn't always be streamed as soon as they were showcased, right? I'm sure Adore didn't intend for fans to try to circumvent this arbitrary streaming problem by pirating the audio from the music video and streaming downloaded versions of the song. Or, I mean, maybe they did intend for this to happen. Again, I wouldn't be surprised based on Adore's meta-concept behavior. NewJeans has showcased this kind of meta-concept before with songs like Ditto and OMG. The conceptual basis for this group hinges on a peculiar sense of self-awareness throughout everything they do. I think this explains a lot of the concept work for this upcoming release. We see NewJeans all over the place in record stores, on vinyls, cassette, and VHS tapes. Again, we're conceptually placed back in a time where the release cadence of music is similar to what we're experiencing right now with Bubblegum. Perhaps Adore is trying to introduce this concept in the form of how the project is released, facilitating the era of music NewJeans is drawing from conceptually by requiring us to engage with the music in a similar way to that time period, where music wasn't just at everyone's fingertips, you had to seek it out. I think this in turn may clue us into the meaning behind this comeback period's conceptual hashtag NewJeans is everywhere. For people who are fans of NewJeans, or even just keeping up with them, this month-long purgatory period before the EP's release is quite odd, but characteristic of the sentiment NewJeans is everywhere, it certainly gets you thinking about the intentions behind this group at the very least. released? What are they thinking about waiting a month before releasing a song on streaming services? In a way, NewJeans is everywhere, as we're now waiting a month to be able to stream a song that's already been fully previewed to us. Again, this isn't new considering the history of the music industry, it's just quite striking in the hyper-production culture of K-pop. On top of all of this, the How Sweet EP comes just under a year since their last standard release. We've been in a bit of a content drought as it is, so a release model like this is definitely pouring salt in the wound for a lot of fans, but again, I feel like that's intentional. There's no way this release strategy is done without any rhyme or reason. There's too many immediately apparent risks to it in terms of performance. I suspect, in an effort to maintain the whimsical side to this group's concept, NewJeans aren't always going to be when and where you want them to be. They're not going to be as understandable, as accessible as other K-pop groups of the past. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if this was the motive, given how committed NewJeans has shown themselves to be when it comes to any given concept, that the odd and inaccessible nature of the song's release period was formed with the concept of this project in mind. In a meta way, the release strategy for the EP is a part of the project's concept. It throws a knife in the expectations of what we all understand about the streaming era of music, which in turn gets us thinking about how unique NewJeans' approach to music can be. And that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing, at the very least, is thinking about NewJeans. Hashtag NewJeans is everywhere kind of tracks in this way. Perhaps I am just looking way too hard into something that is infinitely easier to understand with information we don't have yet, but maybe I'm not. Maybe there is a meta level dimension to this release strategy, as we've seen with their other releases so far. That's what I think about this. These are all of my ideas. I'm very interested to see how this whole release cycle plays out. At the very least, no NewJeans release has been quite the same so far. Every release has been and felt different in terms of rollout, and to me, it really does add to the feeling of the overall product. But yeah, maybe I'm just crazy, but these are my thoughts for now, my ideas surrounding the release strategy of this project. Thank you for watching this if you did. If you have any thoughts or other ideas about this, definitely let me know. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time.